All right, so today we're really diving into the deep end with this one.
Oh, yeah,
Nikola Tesla.
absolutely.
Not the car company, though.
No, no, no.
The actual man.
The man, myth, the legend.
This is a guy who, well, I mean, you could say he almost single-handedly electrified the world.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about how much we rely on electricity today, and then you think back to Tesla's time, it's mind-blowing the impact he had.
It really is. And what's fascinating is that he didn't just stop at, the things we use every day, like alternating current.
Right.
He was really thinking decades ahead.
He was a visionary for sure. I mean, some of the things he was talking about back then still sound like science fiction today.
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Absolutely.
We've got some seriously interesting source material for this deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
FBI documents.
Whoa, okay.
The real deal.
The real deal.
What kind of Tesla-level craziness are we talking about in these files?
Well, let's just say things get a little bit explosive. We're talking about something called a death ray.
A death ray. Like a real death ray.
Not just some made-up sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
The U.S. Army was seriously interested in this concept.
Wait a minute. Are you serious? The Army thought a death ray was a real possibility.
It seems crazy, right? But this was also the time when the atomic bomb was becoming a reality.
Issue.
And there was a lot of fear, understandably, about what this new weapon meant for the world.
So they were looking for a counterweapon.
Exactly.
And they thought Tesla, with his crazy ideas, might actually have the answer.
Well, they weren't quite sure what to make of him, but they definitely weren't ignoring him.
I can imagine. But what did Tesla even mean by death ray? Was he envisioning some kind of super laser beam?
It's a good question. We have to remember, Tesla was working in the late 19th and early 20th centuries.
Right.
Even he was limited by the scientific knowledge of the time.
True, but he was still way ahead of the curve. I mean, wireless power transmission, that was practically magic back then.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where it gets really interesting. Okay, the FBI files also mention this idea of an invisible Chinese wall, basically a force field.
Hold on. An invisible wall. Like some kind of impenetrable barrier.
Precisely. It's like something straight out of a comic book, right?
This just gets weirder by the minute.
Yeah.
Was the death ray supposed to be part of this force field?
That seems to be the implication. And it seems like Tesla was convinced he could manipulate electromagnetic fields on a massive scale. I mean, we're talking about defending an entire country from attack.
So this force field, this invisible Chinese wall, could it actually stop things like missiles or bombs? Or was it more about disrupting electronics or something?
It's not entirely clear from the documents we have, but based on everything we know about Tesla's work, he was definitely thinking big.
Yeah, no kidding. But how much of this was theoretical? Did he have actual plans, blueprints? Did he actually build anything?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
I'm dying to know.
Me too. We'll dive into those questions and more right after this quick break.
So where were we? Ah, yes. Tesla and his death ray. To really get this, we've got to go deep on the science.
All right, lay it on me. What was the scientific basis for this whole thing? Did he actually think he could build a real-life death ray?
Well, he was onto something, but it wasn't about lasers, not like what we think of today anyway.
Yeah.
Tesla was more interested in what we now call directed energy weapons, but with his own twist, of course.
Directed energy weapons. That sounds pretty high-tech. What's the difference between that and, say, just a regular gun?
Good question. Think of it like this. A regular weapon uses projectiles, bullets, missiles, that kind of thing.
Right, makes sense.
Directed energy weapons, on the other hand, they use energy itself as the weapon.
Okay, I think I see where you're going with this. Instead of shooting a bullet, you're shooting pure energy. How does that even work?
Exactly. And the type of energy Tesla was fixated on, high frequency, high voltage electricity.
Wait, like his Tesla coils? Those things are insane. He wanted to weaponize those. It seems that way. Imagine a Tesla coil. But instead of those cool sparks, it's a concentrated beam of electricity, strong enough to take down a target from miles away.
Now that's starting to sound a little more like a death ray. But what about the invisible Chinese wall? How does that fit into all of this?
That's where things get really wild. It was about manipulating electromagnetic fields on a massive scale to create a protective barrier.
So like a force field. But how do you even begin to build something like that?
Now, that's the million-dollar question. It's still a mystery today. He really was ahead of his time. But what we do know is that the FBI, they found notebooks and diagrams related to his research when they went through his things after he died.
What was in them?
That's the catch, unfortunately. Those details, they've never been officially released to the public. Top secret stuff, you see.
Oh man, talk about a tease. Here we are, all these years later, still wondering what Tesla was really capable of.
It's definitely a mystery. Some people, researchers, they believe Tesla may have even done some secret experiments with this technology.
Hold on, secret experiments. Okay, now you've got my attention. What kind of experiments are we talking about here? Secret experiments. Hidden labs. Come on, you can't just drop a bombshell like that, not elaborate.
It's definitely tantalizing stuff. I mean, we're talking about a time when new technologies were emerging left and right.
True, true. Radar, atomic energy, jet engines. It was a whole different world back then. But still, secret Tesla experiments. I gotta know more.
I know, right? I mean, imagine if there are prototypes or test results hidden away in some government vault somewhere. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of hard evidence to go on. Most of it is speculation based on, rumors, things people have said over the years.
So we're stuck in speculation land. No concrete proof, just tantalizing hints and whispers. That's a tough one to swallow, especially with a mind like Tesla's.
It really is. But, even without definitive proof, even just thinking about the possibilities, it really makes you question what Tesla might have achieved if he'd had more time, more resources.
Absolutely. And maybe, just maybe, someday those secrets will surface.
Wouldn't that be something? I mean, imagine the historical and technological implications.
I'm already hooked.
Yeah.
But until then, I guess we're left to decipher the clues and try to separate fact from fiction.
Yeah, it's like putting together a puzzle, but with half the pieces missing, right?
Exactly. But you know what? It's a puzzle worth exploring, even if we never fully solve it. Because at the end of the day, it's about more than just the death ray, right? It's about Tesla's relentless pursuit of knowledge, his willingness to push the boundaries of what's possible.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. The man was practically inventing the future in his mind, decades before anyone else could even imagine it.
And that legacy of innovation, that's what continues to inspire people to this day.
100%. He reminds us to keep asking questions, keep pushing the limits.
Well said. Well, this deep dive has certainly been electrifying, to say the least. We've journeyed into the heart of Tesla's death ray, unraveled secret government files, and explored the mind of a true visionary.
It's been a wild ride through history and technology, that's for sure. And I have a feeling this won't be our last deep dive into Tesla's world. There are just too many mysteries still out there.
That's right. Who knows what other secrets are waiting to be uncovered? Until next time, keep those thinking caps on and keep exploring the fringes of knowledge.